Here's your news for December 14, 2019. We're starting off today's video with some news from Goldberg and Matt Riddle, as the beef between the two isn't over yet. Backstage at SummerSlam this year, the pair had a tense agree-to-disagree conversation which was covered on WWE Chronicle, and though the company may have hoped the pair would stay out of each other's way, that isn't the case for the King of Bros. In a promo detailing Goldberg being the next star to appear on Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions, the former Universal Champion says he owes The Undertaker a receipt after their much-maligned Super Showdown match. Riddle said that Goldberg owes the dead man an apology instead. It'll be interesting to see whether these two ever do have the match many fans are hoping for, and fans will just have to wait until after TLC this Sunday to see whether Riddle's name was brought up by the Rattlesnake. Over to some SmackDown news next, as last night's show featured a sit-down interview with The Miz inside his mansion in Los Angeles. Conducted by Renee Young, the A-lister still didn't feel at ease in his own home, as he still felt the eerie presence of Bray Wyatt throughout the talk. Miz even admitted that he's unsure of the whereabouts of Daniel Bryan, who was last seen being dragged under the ring weeks ago, but said that the compassion he was showing to his former NXT rookie was because he's matured, thanks to the birth of his daughters. Speaking of the A-lister's family, Maurice would later come frantically into the room, saying that the baby monitor for their eldest daughter Monroe showed her playing with rambling rabbits. After a brief interruption from the Firefly Funhouse that played exclusively through the baby monitor, Monroe was seen playing with the entire cast of the Funhouse, including a doll that looked like the Fiend in her crib. Understandably, Monroe was petrified at the sight of the demonic character, and that's when Miz and Maurice demanded the WWE crew to leave so they could comfort their children alone. After that, fans saw a second episode of the Funhouse where Wyatt alluded to the idea that Bryan was still with the Fiend somewhere, before a creepier ending where the Universal Champion said he doesn't feel pain anymore and will teach The Miz not to feel love. Speaking of Bryan, the Wrestling Observer notes that the Yes Man's rematch against The Fiend is being held off to deepen the story, and that the bout will probably happen at the Royal Rumble in Houston. The report reads, Bray Wyatt as The Fiend was to defend against Daniel Bryan, but that's been delayed for storyline reasons. The idea is to spend more time and deepen the story before doing the Fiend vs. Bryan rematch. Wyatt, not as The Fiend, is scheduled for a non-title match with The Miz. While Bryan won't be a presence at TLC, expect The Miz and Wyatt to have a great match together, even with the title not being on the line. Back to NXT now, and it's no secret that Shayna Baszler has been a dominant force on the Gold brand, becoming a two-time women's champion. After all her success in NXT, it seems likely that Baszler's call-up to the main roster is imminent, and fans may get a greater understanding of what's happening after next week's title match against Rhea Ripley. Baszler has already had some success with the other brands, helping lead NXT to victory at Survivor Series, and the finish of the women's main event of the show was reportedly written around the Queen of Spades. Now, Wrestling News is reporting that there are big plans for Bazzler in 2020, including a huge match at the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. The report says, they wanted Lynch for Bazzler for WrestleMania if they couldn't get Ronda Rousey back, and Rousey has said that she is in no rush to return. At this point in time, fans still have no idea what Rousey has got planned regarding her WWE career, as while we hear Triple H saying that she's pitching ideas for her return, different reports are stressing that she wants to do something else. Despite not appearing since WrestleMania 35, Rousey is the odds-on favorite to win the 2020 Women's Royal Rumble, which could give her the title rematch against the Man next April. With that said, Baszler's got some pretty good odds herself, so hopefully things will be a lot clearer in just over a month at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Now, we all know that wrestling is a dangerous profession and accidents can happen at any time, and while some of these botches can be dangerous or scary to watch, others are downright hilarious. That was the case on this week's SmackDown, as the Revival were scheduled to take on Mustafa Ali and Shorty G, but during their entrance, Dash Wilder tripped on the SmackDown set. Wilder at least handled the situation with humor as he yelled for his tag team partner to turn around, and in the ring, Ali and Gable couldn't contain themselves from laughing. Though this may have been a bad botch for the two usually serious superstars, the Revival did bounce back nicely, defeating Ali and Gable. The No Flips, Just Fists tag team will compete this Sunday at TLC, where they'll take on the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a ladder match. One man who knows all about ladder matches at TLC is Kevin Nash, who competed in one in 2011, much to the surprise of fans. This week, though, Big Daddy Cool took to Twitter to address one fan's question about the NWO, as Nash will be receiving his second induction into the Hall of Fame next year as part of the illustrious group. When asked about Big Show and Ted DiBiase not getting the nod to be inducted as NWO members, the former WCW champion mentioned that DiBiase is already a member and said that the Big Show deserves to be inducted on his own. Over a half a dozen world championships and multiple huge matches to his name, there's no question that the Giant should be inducted, but when that moment will take place remains to be seen. Now, we all know WWE loves trying to keep up with the newest crazes on social media, and this week, the company officially joined the world of TikTok. Similar to how Vine operated, TikTok allows users to create short videos for fans to check out, and WWE wasted no time in making plenty of videos for fans to see. Much like other users on the platform, many of the videos are centered around popular challenges at the time, and these videos have already featured some huge WWE names, including Sasha Banks and Ricochet. Hopefully, this newest venture will prove to be a good call for the WWE as they continue to reach more digital platforms, and if it doesn't work, we guess they could always go back to Tout, if anyone still uses that site. We're heading across the pond to the United Kingdom now, as NXT UK star Piper Niven has had some unfortunate news. On her official Twitter account this week, Niven revealed that she has suffered a bout of Bell's palsy after last competing against Ginny on NXT UK last month. Fans might know of Bell's palsy in wrestling because of Jim Ross, who has suffered 3 bouts of the condition, including one that happened during the 1998 Capital Carnage pay-per-view, though Ross still made it to the end of the show. Showing a strong personality, Niven took the news relatively well, making jokes about her condition on Twitter and saying now she can at least pull off a smashing people's eyebrow. Though the causes behind the condition are unknown, Bell's palsy is often recognizable by a weakening of the facial muscles, and we at SlatRock would like to send our best wishes to Piper at this time. While WWE TLC may be tomorrow night, the WWE is already planning ahead of the pay-per-view, as matches have been announced for next week's Raw. During a commercial break on SmackDown, the news broke that Randy Orton and AJ Styles will compete in a WrestleMania rematch on next week's show, which may explain why neither will be featured at TLC. Given the pair's experience working with each other, there are high hopes for the match to deliver, but fans will have to see if Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows end up getting involved in this matchup. We've spoken a lot about WWE news today, but now we've got something from All Elite Wrestling, as a backstage meeting by World Champion Chris Jericho has got fans talking. While speaking to Conan's Keeping It 100, Jericho explained that he had a meeting backstage about the lack of rules in AEW and how things need to change, especially in the tag wrestling division. He said, "I called a team meeting. I'll tell you right now, the lack of tags and the lack of just normal tag team wrestling psychology drove me nuts to the point where that was one of the big knocks against our company in about week 3 or 4 if you remember. They started making excuses for the Lucha Brothers because, I'll be honest with you, tagging out, they're lazy, they don't care. They just walk in and out whenever they want and do whatever they want, and it's not right. It's not how you do it. They would make excuses and they would say, oh, it's Lucha Libre style. Huh, that's funny, because guess what? I worked in Mexico for 2 years, and guess how you make a tag in a Lucha Libre match? You stand on the corner and you wait for a guy to touch you and you walk in. That's Lucha Libre rules, aka tag team rules. So I called a meeting with the whole crew and said you're burying the refs. If you don't have any rules, then you don't get any heat, and it's killing our show because our honeymoon period is over, and now people are watching us and they're being confused by the lack of rules, so that's changing slowly." It was at this point that Conan brought up that most modern-day Lucha Libre matches don't have tagging involved, though Jericho responded saying that while that may be the case, it still seems wrong to the vast majority of fans. The youngest AEW World Champion in history also pointed out that once he asked the Lucha Brothers to tag, they did, as it was a case of nobody telling them to do it. Jericho wasn't all negative though, as he went on to praise Pentagon and Phoenix for their incredible ability, and hopefully, the changes Jericho suggested will be implemented to avoid confusing fans and to appeal to a wider audience. And finally today, we're wrapping up with news from Friday Night SmackDown, as the show opened with everyone's least favorite monarch, King Corbin. Gloating and embarrassing Roman Reigns last week, the Lone Wolf claimed he would do the same this Sunday in their TLC match, but was quickly silenced by an almighty slap from Kofi Kingston. Agreeing to a match later in the night, the Kingston-Corbin match didn't go long before it descended into chaos, as after a brawl, the match was switched to The New Day versus Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. When the SmackDown Tag Team Champions got the win, this was when Reigns struck, getting some payback for last week and building momentum into this Sunday's huge TLC match. This week's SmackDown had plenty of tag team matches, as not only did the main event and the Revival vs. Ali and Gable take place, but Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross picked up a big win over Fire and Desire. In more tag action, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro defeated Heavy Machinery, and if these sorts of wins continue, then the King of Strong Style may soon be adding tag team gold to his collection. After Elias's musical mockery of SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley got a laugh out of Dana Brooke, this didn't sit well with the former hugger, who demolished Brooke in the ring in their impromptu match. Overall, this week's SmackDown was the standard go-home show that fans have seen countless times before a pay-per-view, as with special mentions going to The Miz's character work and Kofi finally getting another main event match. 2019 has been a year of big changes for SmackDown, with both the wildcard rule and the move to Fox changing things, but the blue brand can definitely end on a high if things go well tomorrow night at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs.